I stared at them, burning every single one of those faces into my memory. Run, Zai Zai, run, a voice mocked from above. Tear her skin off, another screamed. Snap her limbs. This was the Beast Arena, a place of entertainment for the elite. A group of teenagers dressed in fine silks and jewels sat on high platforms, their eyes wide with excitement. They were watching me. Down in the dusty plaza, I was surrounded by several vicious crimson dogs. I tried to run, my body already slick with blood, but a dog lunged and pinned me by the shoulder. I felt its teeth sink deep, ripping away a massive chunk of my flesh. I clamped my jaw shut. I didn't make a sound, even as the agony threatened to drown me. I lifted my head, blood matting my hair and soaking my face, and looked at them. I scanned every face in that crowd, the people who spent their days finding new ways to torture me. I wouldn't forget them. Not ever. If I found a way out of this hell, I'd make them pay 1,000 times over. The owner of the Crimson Dogs was an 18-year-old girl named Bai Lu. She cooed at her pets. Good boys. Eat up. It doesn't matter anyway. She's a freak. Her flesh will just grow back soon enough. A group of girls her age giggled beside her. Bai Lu, how did your royal family produce such a monster? One asked. Last time, my beast bit off her foot, and it grew back in 2 weeks. Creatures like her should be thrown into the demon realm. She's as creepy as those damn demons. Bai Lu's face darkened. Royal family? She's nothing but the spawn of a lowly servant who seduced the emperor. That woman disgraced my aunt, the empress. I'm going to torture this little monster until the day she dies. Besides, the emperor doesn't care. He didn't even give her a name. She's just a nameless brat. Bai Lu watched as a dog snapped one of my fingers off. She looked delighted. Everyone, let your spirit beasts loose. Today is my cousin Su Lingyan's awakening day. Let's celebrate. She raised her hand to release 8 more beasts, but a sharp voice cut through the air. The princess has arrived. A girl in magnificent robes walked onto the high platform with an arrogant tilt to her chin. Bai Lu and the others scrambled to their feet, looking panicked. Princess, why are you here? This filth isn't fit for your eyes, one of the older boys said softly. It's too bloody. It might scare you. Princess Su Lingyan stood at the edge of the platform, looking down at me. We were born on the same day in the same year, yet here I was, dying in a pool of my own blood. She looked at me with deep disgust, but her voice was full of fake sympathy. She's quite pitiful. You all should stop torturing her. Princess, you're just too kind, Bai Lu insisted. Think of what her mother did to the empress. It's a disgrace that a highborn empress had to share a husband with a foot-washing maid. My aunt was the most talented girl of the Bai family. Marrying into this kingdom of 10,000 beasts was already beneath her. You should be the only princess here. Su Lingyan offered a thin smile. Still, we shouldn't be too harsh. She is innocent, after all. Lying in the dirt, I almost wanted to laugh. Su Lingyan did this every time. She'd wait until I was broken and bleeding, then show up to play the saint. In reality, she wanted me dead more than anyone. I gripped my fist, my broken fingers scraping the stone. I just needed one chance to escape this palace. Today was the day. In the kingdom of 10,000 beasts, everyone awakens a beast essence on their 18th birthday. It's the source of a person's first life-bound spirit beast. The essence is formed from the marrow of a specific bone called the beast bone. The more vital the bone's location, the stronger the talent. If I could just awaken a powerful enough beast, I could fight my way out. But my hope was cut short. Several of the Empress's personal maidservants marched into the arena. They grabbed me and hauled me away like a bag of trash. Still haven't given up, have you? One maid hissed, slapping me across the face before spitting on me. Thinking about awakening your essence and running away? Keep dreaming. My heart went cold. They remembered it was my birthday. They weren't going to let me have that chance. They dragged me into the Empress's private secret chamber and lashed me to a cold stone table. Soon, I heard Su Lingyan's voice, but the saintly tone was gone. It was replaced by something cruel and jagged. Mother, letting her die like this is a waste, Su Lingyan said. Why don't we chop off her hands and feet, pull out her tongue, and stuff her into a jar? Yinner, if you don't pull weeds by the roots, they just grow back when the wind blows. The Empress replied with a light chuckle. She can't be allowed to live past 18. But don't worry about her. Today is your awakening day too. I've prepared the best medicinal pool for you. Go get ready. Yes, mother. I'll awaken the best essence. After all, I am the most noble princess of this kingdom. I stopped listening. Suddenly, a strange sensation washed over me. My body began to glow with a blood-red flame. Phoenix essence, a maid screamed, her voice trembling with terror. Empress, look. It's a phoenix bone producing a phoenix essence. No wonder this brat's flesh kept regenerating. It was the power of nirvana. The Empress's face turned pale. What nonsense are you talking? Phoenix bones only appear once every 1,000 years. Only the most noble daughter of the royal bloodline can have it. That should be my yenner. How could? She stopped mid-sentence. My entire spine was glowing with a blinding, searing light. It was the phoenix bone. The Empress's beautiful face twisted into a mask of pure rage. Then, she smiled, a smile that was far more terrifying than her anger. The phoenix essence belongs to my daughter. It can only belong to her, she whispered. Carve out her spine. Use the Bai family's secret art to transplant it into my yenner. I felt the jagged blade pierce my back. I stared at the Empress, my eyes wide with hate. I will kill you, I wheezed. I'll kill you for what you did to me and my mother. The Empress laughed. With what? You? Your mother died much worse than this. When I threw her into the pit of 10,000 beasts, she had it much harder. She pressed a sharp fingernail against my eyelid. She actually tried to crawl out of that pit to save you. I watched the whole thing. Her stomach was ripped open, her guts trailing behind her, and she still kept crawling. My blood boiled. I felt a surge of strength from the depths of my soul. I lunged forward and bit down on the Empress's hand, severing one of her fingers. You filthy brat, she shrieked. She backhanded me so hard I flew across the room. At that moment, a golden orb fell from my body. A phoenix beast egg. Even with her hand bleeding, the Empress's eyes lit up with greed. Quick, grab it. My spine had been ripped out. I was a broken shell. I reached out a trembling hand, watching helplessly as the maid snatched away my beast egg. Filthy thing, the Empress spat, clutching her bloody hand. Throw her into the abyss of demon swords. Let the monsters there eat what's left of her. I want nothing left of her body. The maids carried my mangled, half-dead body to the edge of a dark, fog-filled chasm. The air smelled of death and ancient malice. The maids were shaking. They knew that anything thrown into this abyss never came back out. Die already, they grunted. Together, they swung my body and tossed me into the void. As I was thrown into the void, I looked up one last time. In the eastern sky, blood-red clouds gathered, swirling with a violent energy. Suddenly, a single bolt of golden light pierced the heavens and struck the earth with enough force to make the world tremble. A phoenix's cry echoed across the entire kingdom of myriad beasts. I saw the two maids who had just tossed me away fall to their knees. Their faces were twisted with a fanatical joy as they bowed toward the east. The phoenix bone had taken root. The true princess had been born. Then, I hit the water. When my broken body slammed into the massive river at the bottom of the abyss, I didn't even feel the pain. I was too numb. In the darkness, strange, gravelly voices began to whisper in my ears. The demon abyss. It's been a long time since we had a newcomer. It's a little brat. A child's flesh is always the sweetest. Suddenly, one of the voices turned sharp and curious. Wait, did this little brat just drop an egg? As I drifted into unconsciousness, a small, pitch-black egg emerged from my body. The monsters went silent for a moment. Then, they began to shout toward a dense, dark forest in the distance. Lady Een, come quickly. There's a little girl here who lays eggs. Didn't you say you wanted a salted egg for dinner? A woman's voice, blurred and ethereal, drifted from the depths of the woods. Idiots. She's from the kingdom of myriad beasts. Bring her to me. I was grabbed like a rag doll and tossed deep into the forest. A hand, impossibly pale and cold, pressed against my mangled spine. Interesting, the woman whispered. Her voice held a hint of a laugh. Born with a phoenix bone. It seems the people who dug it out didn't know the secret. A phoenix bone can be reborn through nirvana. She let out a soft, chilling chuckle. She's filled with resentment. Her hatred is deep, and she's already been tainted by the demonic energy of our realm. She's become a bridge between light and dark. Let's raise her. Who knows? We might just end up with a little monster. 3 months passed. Inside the royal palace of the kingdom of myriad beasts, Su Linyan screamed. She hurled a golden beast egg across the room and began stomping on it with her boots. Why? Why won't this thing hatch? She shrieked. Her face was pale, her eyes bloodshot and manic. How much more of my heart's blood do I have to feed it? The empress rushed into the room, hearing the commotion. Yenner, what are you doing? That is a divine beast. It's been 3 months. Su Linyan hissed, her teeth clenched. How long do I have to hide? If the commoners find out I'm a princess who can't even hatch her own beast, they'll laugh at me. And what about the Feng family? She looked at the empress with desperation. Feng Sun is here from the 5 provinces. He's been waiting for me for 3 months. He has a perfect spirit body, and I have the phoenix bone. We are supposed to be the perfect match. If this egg never hatches, will he still want me? He wouldn't dare, the empress said, her eyes glinting with malice. I won't let you be humiliated. Besides, Lord Feng Sun clearly cares for you. Haven't you heard? He went to Mount Baitu with Bai Lu to find dragon scale grass for you. Dragon scale grass? Su Linyan's eyes lit up. That's the best supplement for unhatched eggs. I have to have it. You will, the empress promised. I will make you the most powerful woman in all the 5 provinces. Meanwhile, on the slopes of Mount Baitu, a group was trekking cautiously through the thick fog. Everyone was armed, accompanied by their spirit beasts. At the front of the pack were 2 young people, a handsome, cold youth and a girl with an arrogant expression. This mountain is so boring, the girl, Bai Lu, complained. There's no danger at all. I don't know why they call it a forbidden zone. You can go back if you're bored, Feng Sun replied. His voice was flat, filled with an impatience that he didn't bother to hide. Bai Lu shut her mouth instantly, scurrying along behind him. Do you really think the dragon scale grass is here? The fog is so thick. Only someone as brave as you would come here, brother Sun. Feng Sun ignored her. Bai Lu scowled. Feng Sun wasn't from their kingdom. He came from the powerful 5 provinces. His true status was a mystery, but even the emperor and empress treated him with a respect that bordered on fear. Tingling. The clear sound of a bell echoed through the fog. Who's there? Feng Sun's hand flew to his weapon. A figure emerged from the white haze. It was a young woman, appearing to be about 18. She wore a vibrant red dress and a silver half-mask that covered the upper part of her face. Her exposed eye was a striking, blood-red cat-like pupil. Around her ankle, a string of pitch-black bells rattled with every step. The dragon scale grass. Bai Lu shouted, pointing at the girl's hand. Hey you, lowlife, give that to us right now. Bai Lu scanned the girl. Her spiritual fluctuations were incredibly weak. In our world, those without the talent to summon a beast could sometimes cultivate the energy in the air, but this girl looked like she had nothing. The girl turned around. Bai Lu froze. Something about the girl's silhouette looked familiar. No, she thought, it can't be. That brat is dead and gone. I stared at Bai Lu, my hand tightening into a fist. I couldn't believe she was standing right in front of me. To her, it had been 3 months. To me, every second under the demon abyss felt like a year in hell. I had spent every waking moment remembering their faces and what they did to me. The old witch of the abyss had raised me. She gave me a new name, Yin Yan. She had used every twisted method imaginable to temper my body, pushing me past the breaking point. I had endured it all for one reason, revenge. My mother's death, my stolen bone, my lost egg. I was going to take it all back. Under the mask, my expression was unreadable. Give it to you. I let out a cold, mocking laugh. Why should I? Do you have any idea who we are? Bai Lu snapped. How dare a commoner like you enter a forbidden zone? I smiled. My eyes lost their laziness and sharpened with a predatory edge. If you can walk here, why can't I? I glanced at the black bells on my ankle. They were a cursed tool the old witch had made. They allowed me to leave the abyss, but only for 4 hours at a time. After that, the seal would drag me back, no matter where I was. I had only come out to find the grass for my own unhatched black egg. I hadn't expected to run into old friends so soon. You dare talk back to Our Lady? Bai Lu's maids began to jeer. You don't know your place. Our Lady wanting your grass is an honor. If we were back in the city, you wouldn't even be fit to lick her boots. Actually, my lady, one maid whispered with a cruel grin, we should skin her. Her hide would make excellent parchment for your drawings. That'll teach her a lesson. Good idea, Lu said. She waved a hand, and a massive red-bright hound lunged forward. Go, girl. Bring that trash to me. Feng Sun frowned, but didn't stop her. He wanted to see what I was capable of. The hound roared, leaping at my throat. I pulled out a long whip and cracked it against the ground. You're sending this piece of trash against me? I asked. The maids laughed. You're the one who's about to die. But as the words left their mouths, the air around me exploded. A pillar of spiritual power erupted from my body, soaring toward the sky. The whip in my hand transformed, shifting and twisting until it became a thick, black serpent. It lunged, coiling its body around the red-bright hound's neck. The beast gasped for air. Lu's face twisted in shock. How is this possible? She shrieked. Her maids were blown back by the sheer pressure of my spiritual power, hitting the ground hard. They stared at me like they'd seen a ghost. She's a 9th-stage spirit body, one of them stammered. I knew why they were terrified. In the Wanshou Kingdom, the most talented genius, Su Linyin, had awakened the Phoenix origin and was still only at the 3rd stage. To them, I was a monster. I just smirked. 3 months in the abyss of magic swords hadn't been for nothing. The old witch had performed countless experiments on me. The pain was finally paying off. The red-bright hound let out a pathetic whimper. The black snake's tail hooked into its jaw, and I felt the beast's flesh begin to tear under the pressure. No, Lu screamed, her eyes bloodshot. That hound was her life-bound spirit beast. If it died, she'd suffer the same fate. I tilted my head, mimicking the cruel tone Lu used to use when she tortured me. Good boy, I whispered to the black snake. Pull her teeth out, one by one. Then, strip her skin. I think I need a new scarf. Stop. Stop it. Lu clutched her chest, feeling every ounce of the hound's agony. She turned to her guards, her voice trembling. Kill her. Kill. Before she could finish, I vanished. A second later, I was standing right in front of her. I grabbed her throat with one hand and delivered 2 thunderous slaps to her face. Blood sprayed, and 2 of her front teeth flew out of her mouth. You, lowly peasant, she wailed, her voice whistling through the new gap in her teeth. How dare you? Didn't you want to skin me? I laughed softly, my fingernails digging into her neck. Suddenly, a flash of sword light surged toward me. I felt a massive wave of spiritual pressure and raised an eyebrow. Another 9th-stage spirit body. Feng Sun, the man standing with her, was barely 20, yet he had reached the same level as me. She has already lost, Feng Sun said, his voice dripping with self-righteousness. To keep attacking is simply cruel. I scoffed. If Lu tried to kill me, it was justice. If I fought back, it was cruelty. Typical. I didn't argue. Instead, I pulled Lu in front of me like a human shield. No. Brother Feng, help. Lu's face went pale. She was so terrified by the cold steel of death that her legs gave out. A warm, yellow stain spread across her silk trousers. She had actually wet herself. Feng Sun's expression soured, and he quickly pulled back his sword. The guards moved to rush me, so I took the opportunity to hurl the sobbing, stinking Lu toward them. I wiped my hands on my clothes, disgusted. Ugh, smells like a kennel in here. Lu scrambled up, unaware of the stench or the yellow stains on her legs. She tried to lean pathetically against Feng Sun. Brother Feng, you have to avenge me. Feng Sun didn't even look at her. He used the sheath of his sword to push her away, his eyes full of loathing. Your weapon is unique, he said, looking at me instead. But if you kill her spirit beast, my guards will tear you apart. You can't win against all of us. He wasn't wrong. A life-bound beast and its master were one. If the dog died, she died, and the guards would have no choice but to execute me. That's right. Lu hissed, hiding behind Feng Sun. Kneel and beg, you bitch. Shut up, Feng Sun snapped at her. He wasn't an idiot. A girl my age with this much power had to have a massive faction backing her. He looked at me with newfound interest. What is your name? Yin, I replied. Hand over the dragon scale grass, he commanded, not even bothering to ask. And you will come with us back to the Wanshou Kingdom. He couldn't sense my true cultivation level because of the treasures I carried, and he was clearly curious about my identity. Bai Lu tried to protest, but I just smiled at her. Keep talking, and I'll pull out the rest of your teeth. Feng Sun frowned at my lack of respect, but I didn't care. Fine, I said. I'll go with you. I whistled, and the black snake released the half-dead hound, shrinking back into a whip in my hand. Feng Sun looked satisfied and signaled his men to stand down. I walked toward them, stopping right next to Bai Lu. She flinched as I put a hand on her shoulder. Don't worry. I whispered in her ear, my grip tightening until she winced. We have a long journey ahead. Let's try to get along. As I patted her shoulder, a tiny, hair-thin black insect crawled from my fingertip and vanished into her skin. Get off me. Bai Lu shoved my hand away as we started walking. Do you even know who I am? The Queen of Wanshou is my aunt. The greatest genius in 1,000 years, Su Linyan, is my cousin. You should be shaking in your boots. 1,000 years, huh? I muttered. Scared now? She sneered. Once we get back to the city, I'll make sure you beg for death. And stay away from Brother Feng. He's mine. If you even look at him, I'll turn you to ash. She started scratching her neck, where small red bumps were already beginning to form. She didn't notice, but I did. I just smiled. Up ahead, Feng Sun pulled out a bronze compass. It was a high-level tool used to find rare spiritual herbs. This way, he directed, looking proud. Oh, Brother Feng. Bai Lu chirped, her eyes wide with fake admiration. Is that the dragon-seeking compass? One of the 10 great artifacts. I stared at the artifact in his hand and blinked. It looked exactly like the rusty piece of junk the old madman back in the abyss used to prop up his wobbly dinner table. Was this thing really supposed to be rare? What are you looking at? Bai Lu snapped, seeing my expression. I just shook my head and followed them deeper into the mist. They had no idea what they had just invited into their world. Bai Lu noticed me watching her and immediately puffed out her chest, planting her hands on her hips. You've probably never even seen a treasure like this, she sneered. You should be grateful you're here today with Brother Feng. My whip, Jin Ming, reacted instantly. It transformed back into a black snake, its cold eyes locked onto Bai Lu with pure killing intent. I reached down and gently stroked its head to calm it. Don't be in such a hurry, I whispered. Keep her alive. I have a much bigger use for her. Suddenly, Feng Sun's voice rang out from the front. What is this? The spiritual fluctuations are terrifying. We reached a clearing where nothing grew. In the center sat a deep purple herb, radiating a dense, powerful aura. It was shaped like a lotus, cradling a pearl as white as snow. Feng Sun didn't hesitate. He reached out to grab it. My heart skipped a beat. I remembered what the old witch back home told me. There was one thing on Whitehead Mountain that must never be touched. Don't move, I shouted. Feng Sun gave a confident, arrogant smile. In this world, there is nothing I, Feng Sun, cannot touch. With a burst of misplaced bravado, he ripped the herb from the ground. You idiot, I cursed under my breath. The moment the herb left the soil, the ground beneath Whitehead Mountain groaned. Endless lava began to churn and boil upward. From the depths, a white jade coffin rose through the earth. Inside lay a man. His eyes were closed, yet even in sleep, he radiated a pressure so intense it felt like it could shatter the heavens. His long finger moved, just a twitch, and the entire mountain range began to heave. The ground beneath Feng Sun exploded. A terrifying aura swept over us. Compared to this power, a level 9 spirit body felt like a tiny spark next to a blazing sun. We were trapped. In the face of certain death, Feng Sun gritted his teeth and pulled a jade pendant from his waist, crushing it instantly. A massive pillar of light erupted, momentarily pushing back the suffocating pressure and forming a protective circle around the three of us. The soldiers standing outside the circle didn't stand a chance. They were instantly crushed into a bloody mist. This is a spatial jade my master gave me, Feng Sun gasped, his face pale. It won't last long. It's my last resort. He looked at the swirling vortex. It can only take 2 people. Take me. Bai Lu wailed, tears and snot streaming down her face. Take me with you, Brother Feng. I don't want to die. Feng Sun ignored her. His eyes settled on me. You're coming with me. He had no intention of wasting this chance on Bai Lu. Brother Feng, how could you do this to me? Bai Lu collapsed, desperately grabbing his leg. He kicked her away like trash and reached for my hand. Come with me. I'll allow you to be my personal maid. He wanted me. He saw my talent and figured if I had no backing, he could own me. I laughed coldly and stepped back, dodging his grip. Instead, I grabbed Bai Lu. I leaned in close, my voice a low hiss that only she could hear. You've already been poisoned. In less than half a month, your face will rot until you die. Only I have the cure. Tell no one. If you want to live, come back to this mountain in 3 days to find me. The shockwave from the coffin cracked my mask, revealing part of my face. Bai Lu's eyes widened in horror. She recognized me. You're, she stammered. How is the sword seed still alive? I didn't give her time to finish. I threw her bodily into the spatial vortex. You gave your life for her. Feng Sun stared at me in shock. Go, I snapped, turning my face away so he couldn't see more. I wasn't being a martyr. I had my own way out. I could disconnect my soul from the bell on my ankle and return to the demon sword at any moment. Feng Sun gave me one last, deep look before stepping into the vortex. You have to survive, he called out. I never thought there was a woman as selfless as you in this world. Then, they were gone. The terrifying aura surged forward to swallow me whole. I didn't flinch. I reached down, snapped the bell from my ankle, and let the black vortex of the demon sword pull me back into the void just as the mountain collapsed. Back at the Wansho Palace, the Empress stared toward the mountain, her face white. Impossible, she whispered. Could that man still be alive? Mother, what about my dragon-scale herb? Su Linyan complained, her voice sharp and irritated. She didn't care about the catastrophe, only her prize. The Empress ignored her daughter. Her mind was on Feng Sun. If he died, how would she answer to the Feng family? Suddenly, a gust of wind swirled in the room, and Feng Sun and Bai Lu tumbled out, looking battered and exhausted. Feng Sun, you're safe. The Empress rushed forward, relieved. Where is my herb? Su Linyan demanded, seeing their empty hands. She lunged at Feng Sun, grabbing his robes. You said you were getting it for me. Feng Sun's gaze turned icy. He was still thinking about my sacrifice, and here was his fiancée, not caring if he lived or died, only asking about a plant. His cold stare was so intense that Su Linyan froze in her tracks. The Empress realized the tension and quickly pulled her daughter back. You're being disrespectful. Feng Sun, please, go rest. Linyan is just shaken by the mountain's collapse. Feng Sun let out a dry, mocking laugh. He looked at Su Linyan, the so-called genius of 1,000 years, with newfound disgust. The princess is so talented and has the phoenix source, he said smoothly. I'm sure she can hatch the divine beast egg without the herb. Or is there something the princess is hiding? Su Linyan's heart hammered against her ribs. She forced a gentle, saintly smile. Of course not, Brother Feng. I was just worried. Nearby, Bai Lu was curled on the floor. The poison was already beginning to itch under her skin. She was terrified and hurting. She looked around at the royals and realized they only cared about the herb and Feng Sun. No one cared if she lived or died. She stumbled to her feet and headed for the exit. She needed a healer, but mostly, she needed to process the fact that the sword seed was back from the dead. Inside the demon sword, a group of grotesque monsters huddled together, watching the mountain from their realm. What do we do? Our Nian Nian isn't back yet, one cried. Where's the shadow woman? Nian Nian is her adopted daughter. Does she not care? As they argued, a swarm of black crows erupted into the sky, their shrieks silencing the crowd. A beautiful, dark-robed woman stepped forward, her eyes fixed on the horizon. Is the little brat back yet? Not yet, a small monster squeaked. But we can't get out. The seal on the sword is too strong. The mountain shook again, making the monsters tremble. Is he waking up? Someone whispered. Who cares about him? Another snapped. He has no grudge against us. I only care about Nian Nian. To these 1,000-year-old monsters, I was just a baby. They had started out curious about how to raise a human. But over the years, they had all grown soft. I was their Nian Nian, and they weren't about to let anything happen to me. Seeing Enyu's cold, indifferent expression, one of the monsters couldn't help but snap. Don't you care about Nian Nian at all? Is she just a lab rat for your medicines? If I'd known, I would have raised her myself. In an instant, Enyu's finger flicked out. A terrifying, oppressive aura exploded from her as her black wings unfurled, pinning the monster down with raw power. "Do you want to die?" she hissed, her eyes bleeding into a deep, murderous crimson. She didn't wait for an answer. She lunged straight for the seal, her body a blur of dark energy. "Inyu, don't touch the barrier," an old, white-haired monster with a single horn shouted, rushing to stop her. But before she could hit the seal, something heavy crashed down from above. Thud! I landed right on Inyu's back, knocking the wind out of her and stopping her dead in her tracks. "Ow!" I groaned, rubbing my hips. That was a rough landing. But hey, at least I didn't feel any pain. "Nyen Nyen. Look!" The little monsters cried out, their voices trembling as they pointed. I looked down. My heart nearly stopped. I was literally sitting on the old hag's neck. "Don't get excited," I said, my voice cracking slightly. "I can explain." She didn't want an explanation. A second later, she kicked me, and my weapon, so hard I flew across the clearing and smashed into a crater. Ha! The monsters burst into laughter. "Nyen Nyen, you really go looking for a beating every single day, don't you?" They crowded around me, laughing while quickly pulling me up to check for injuries. I didn't care about the dust on my clothes. I looked toward Whitehead Mountain. "What is that thing?" I asked, walking back to the old hag. She was the only one who knew the real secrets. Inyu stared at the mountain with a hollow gaze. "Under that mountain lies someone the world refused to accept." I frowned. "Is he coming out?" The mountain continued to shake. Deep beneath the Red Rock River, a man lay inside a coffin. His long, thick eyelashes fluttered like the wings of a dark butterfly. He was breathtakingly beautiful, but there was a sharp, lethal cruelty etched into the corners of his eyes. As his lashes trembled, the mountain cracked further. The roaring river fell silent, as if holding its breath. It felt like the world was ending. But then, after 30 seconds, his eyes grew still. He fell back into a deep sleep. The mountain went quiet. Inyu exhaled a long breath of relief. He didn't wake up. Thank God. I raised an eyebrow. All that chaos just because someone almost woke up? Inyu turned to me, her eyes narrowing. "I haven't asked you yet. Did you touch something I told you to stay away from?" "It wasn't me," I replied with a smirk. "I just ran into an old enemy, and a stupid man named Feng's son. The next few days are going to be very interesting." I expected her to be annoyed, but her face went deathly pale. She grabbed my arm, her grip like ice. "Did you say that man's name was Feng?" "Yeah," I stammered, startled by her reaction. "What's wrong?" Her grip tightened until it hurt. Just as she was about to press for more, someone screamed from the distance. "Nyen Nyen, come quick. Your beast egg is moving." I didn't wait. I bolted back to my room. Inyu stayed behind, her eyes dark and troubled. Was it that Feng family? And why did the mountain react now? Was he really waking up? Back in my room, a small black egg was vibrating on my bed. My heart raced. This was my life-bonded beast. A twin-birth egg, a miracle even rarer than a phoenix soul. Crack, a tiny hole appeared in the black shell. A dark, fuzzy tail poked out. Before I could move, the tail whipped back inside, dragging a piece of the shell with it. Then came the sound of loud, rhythmic crunching. "Little guy," I whispered, stepping closer. Suddenly, a circle of black light erupted from the egg. A massive, divine pressure swept through the room. If it wasn't for the demon's sword seal, this aura would have pierced the heavens. "Nyen Nyen, is it a divine beast?" The monsters whispered, crowding the doorway. "What do you want it to be?" I took a deep breath. "Anything. As long as it's mine, I'll love it." The light intensified, holding us all in suspense. Then it snapped back. A tiny, black, fluffy creature crawled out. It had two little feelers on its head that it used to pat itself softly. Seeing so many eyes on it, the little thing got shy and curled into a ball. The monsters stared. A bug. Among spirit beasts, insect types were considered the most useless. "Nyen Nyen, how did you hatch a little worm?" One of them sighed, disappointed. But this wasn't an ugly bug. It had a round head, fur as soft as silk, and golden eyes that looked like precious gems. It looked at me, then at the mocking monsters. Its little eyes welled up with tears. It rolled across the bed like a ball and curled up against my ankle, whimpering. My heart melted. "Don't cry, don't cry." I picked it up instantly. As soon as I touched it, the bug transformed. In my arms was now a beautiful 3-year-old boy. He smelled like fresh milk and felt as soft as a cloud. "Master," he chirped in a sweet, milky voice. The monsters stopped laughing. Their faces turned sour. "Hey, get off our Nyen Nyen," they barked. "You're her guardian beast. How can you protect her if you're this weak and pathetic?" The boy's eyes turned red, but he squeezed his tiny fists. "I will protect Master." I patted his head. "It's okay. Even if you're weak, I'll protect you." "Master, you're the best," he whispered, leaning his head on my shoulder. Then, making sure I couldn't see, he looked back at the monsters and provocatively raised an eyebrow. The monsters gasped. This little brat had 2 faces. "Let's give you a name," I said, smiling. "I have a name," the boy said, clinging to me. "I'm Bai Bien." As he spoke, he glanced at the black whip tied to my waist. The whip was actually a powerful snake beast from the demon sword realm. Bai Bien's golden eyes flashed with a sudden, terrifying killing intent. The whip, a high-level predator, suddenly shivered violently. It fell off my waist like a piece of dead rope and scrambled toward the door as if it had seen a ghost. Bai Bien gave a soft, satisfied huff. He looked back up at me with those big, innocent eyes. "Master, the others don't seem to like me. Is it because I'm too weak?" The monsters around me weren't buying Bai Bien's act. They growled, moving in to tear the little thing away from me and give him a beating. I wouldn't let them. I pulled him closer, shielding his tiny body with my arms. I didn't care if he was useless or small. He was mine, and I would protect him. Bai Bien nodded softly against my chest, acting like the perfect, submissive pet. But as I held him, my mind drifted back to the other beast egg, the one Su Lingyan had stolen from me. Was it hatching? Was my other little one being mistreated? The thought felt like a hole being carved out of my chest. I clenched my fists, grabbed Bai Bien, and headed out to find the old hag. I found Enyu sitting on a massive boulder that had a literal mouth growing out of it. She was staring into the distance, lost in thought. I approached her quietly. Even though we bickered every day, she was the one who had saved my life. I carried her surname. In my heart, she was my mentor and my second mother. "Mother," I called out. She snapped out of her daze and looked at me, her eyes immediately landing on Bai Bien. Unlike the low-level monsters, Enyu saw right through things. She squinted, her sharp gaze feeling like it could pierce straight through the boy's skin. After a long silence, she let out a cryptic laugh. "This little bug," she murmured, "is actually quite interesting." Bai Bien froze. He could feel the heavy, suffocating pressure radiating from her. He stayed silent, realizing this woman knew his true form wasn't just a common insect. I didn't linger on his identity. I had a more urgent goal. His name is Bai Bien. But forget that for a minute. Is the soul-swapping pill ready? The soul-swapping pill was a legendary medicine unique to the demon race. It didn't work on demons, only humans. If I had a suitable body, I could use the pill to transfer my soul into it and finally leave this hidden realm. Most importantly, my power wouldn't be affected. I was currently at the 9th rank of both spiritual and demonic cultivation. No matter whose body I took, I would remain a dual rank 9 powerhouse. "I'm not the one refining it," Enyu said with a light chuckle. "The old alchemist is." "Why? Did you find a body?" I smirked. "I found one. The identity is perfectly safe. I can't wait any longer. I have to go out, find my other beast egg, and settle my debts." I expected her to stop me. She had always said I couldn't leave until I reached the peak of my cultivation. But to my surprise, she nodded. "Fine," she said, her voice suddenly dripping with killing intent. "But I have 2 conditions. First, you must find the treasure capable of breaking the seal on the demon's sword. Second, you must bring me the head of the patriarch of the Feng family." The Feng family. I thought of that disgusting man I had seen earlier with Bai Lu. "Deal," I said without hesitation. "And the body?" Enyu asked, frowning. "It has to be a living vessel. A corpse won't work." "Don't worry," I replied, a cold smile spreading across my face. "I found a stupid girl. Within 3 days, she'll come crawling to Whitehead Mountain looking for me. Using Bai Lu's body will make it much easier to stir up trouble in the Imperial Palace." Back at the palace, Bai Lu was losing her mind. She stared into a mirror at her rotting face, her eyes bloodshot with terror. The spiritual doctors were useless. The sores on her skin were oozing and emitted a foul stench that made her skin crawl. I can't die? I won't be disfigured, she screamed. She remembered my threat. She hadn't told anyone about seeing me because she didn't dare gamble with her life. She was convinced I was the only one who could cure her. She shrieked at the doctors to do something, but they were already tired of her tantrums. Suddenly, a servant girl burst into the room, stumbling over her feet. Doctors, come quickly to the princess's quarters. The water beast egg is hatching. The doctors didn't hesitate. They abandoned Bai Lu instantly. Compared to a cousin's skin condition, the hatching of a high-level beast was far more important to the kingdom. In the main hall, Su Lingyan and the Empress were staring intently at a golden egg resting on a spiritual altar. I thought that brat's death would kill the egg too, Su Lingyan whispered, her face twisted with excitement. Since they were life-bonded, I didn't expect it to actually hatch. Silly child, the Empress said, patting her daughter's hand. You have the phoenix marrow now. You are the master of this egg. That girl is irrelevant. A loud crack echoed through the room. A golden wing smashed through the shell. Unlike the soft, milky Bai Bian, this creature had a temper like a forest fire. It kicked the remaining shell away with a violent thud. Blood-red flames erupted from its golden feathers. Look, Yenner, the Empress cried. It's a fire phoenix. The bird transformed in a flash of light, turning into a young girl with 2 little buns in her hair. A flame mark glowed on her forehead, and her eyes were sharp and fierce. She looked at the 2 women with pure disdain, picked up a piece of her own eggshell, and crunched it loudly between her teeth. Who are you 2? The girl asked, her voice cold. The Empress forced a smile and pushed Su Lingyan forward. This is your master. She's going to give you a name. Su Lingyan felt the overwhelming pressure coming from the child and beamed. I'll call you. Call me La La. The girl interrupted, her lip curling in a sneer. And don't call me a fire phoenix. That's an insult. You're ugly, and you're definitely not my master. A life-bonded beast can sense its true owner. To Lala, this woman looked like a common pheasant trying to play dress-up. Lala was a blood phoenix, a creature unique in heaven and earth. She was so angry she stomped her foot, shattering the altar beneath her. Su Lingyan's smile shattered. What did you say? She clenched her fist, and the stolen phoenix marrow inside her glowed. A master-slave formation flared up under La La's feet. Because the marrow was the source of the bond, the contract was absolute. La was slammed into the floor by an invisible weight. I am your master. Su Lingyan screamed like a lunatic. I have the phoenix marrow. You were born from it. If you don't obey, I'll beat you to death. La struggled, gasping for air. The contract was crushing her spirit, forcing her to submit. She took a few shallow breaths and lowered her head. Fine, you are La La's master. I'll stop. Su Lingyan smirked and released the pressure. But the moment the formation vanished, La leaped into the air. She shifted back into a small bird and unleashed a massive torrent of flames. The entire room turned into an inferno in seconds. Stop my foot, La chirped, hovering over the fire. Burn in your pheasant nest. I'm going to find my real master. With a burst of speed, she flew out of the palace, her pride as a blood phoenix guiding her toward the mountains. I shared the same bloodline as my true master. There was no way I would ever bow to these 2 despicable villains. The Blood Phoenix clan would rather die than surrender. But I didn't get far. A terrifying, overwhelming pressure descended from the sky like a heavy net, snatching me right out of the air. I felt myself being torn backward by an invisible force. The Empress stood there with a cold, stony expression. With a casual wave of her hand, a violent gust of wind blew out my flames as if they were nothing more than a flickering candle. She didn't just rule the kingdom of longevity because of her powerful family backing. She was a formidable force in her own right. Mother, Su Lingyan cried out, her voice trembling with frustration and grievance. Don't worry, Yenner, the Empress said, her eyes chilling as she watched me struggle. When a little pet is disobedient, you just have to beat it until it's near death. Then it learns to listen. I gritted my teeth and glared at them, but inside, my heart felt heavy and sour. A newborn beast craves the warmth and protection of its true master. I wanted mine so badly it hurt. Suddenly, the Empress lashed out with a whip designed to strip flesh from bone. It struck me with a sickening crack. She used her spiritual energy to create a cage, trapping me in a small, suffocating space. I hopped and fluttered frantically to dodge the blows, cursing at them with every breath I had left. "Just you wait," I screamed, my voice high and sharp. "Once I level up and find my real master, I'm going to beat you both to death. I'll burn every single hair off your bodies, you ugly hags. You're hideous." The Empress's eyebrows shot up in rage. She was furious, but she didn't dare actually kill me. She had to stand there and take it while I zipped around like a little cannonball, firing off insults at the top of my lungs. At that exact moment, far away in the demon abyss, Nian Nian felt a sharp, stabbing pain in her chest. She gasped, clutching her heart. She could feel it. She had another little one out there, and they were hurting. She didn't even have time to hug Bai Bian before her face went pale and she collapsed straight to the floor. "Master!" Nian Nian. The monsters swarmed around her in a panic. When Nian Nian finally opened her eyes, the air was thick with the bitter scent of medicine. A 10-year-old boy with messy green hair was standing over her. Despite looking like a child, he held his hands behind his back and acted like a grumpy old man. In reality, he was ancient, at least 5,000 or 6,000 years old. "Old poisoner," Nian Nian wheezed, sitting up and rubbing her chest. "What happened to me?" "You're fine," he grunted. Even with his skills, he couldn't pinpoint the cause. Soul bonds were fickle things. Probably just exhaustion. "I'll whip up some medicinal soup to build your strength." "Please don't." Nian Nian shuddered. The last time he helped, he made her swallow something that looked like green slime. It was traumatizing. "Wait, what about the soul-switching pill?" She couldn't wait any longer. "Come here," the old poisoner muttered, beckoning her over. "I haven't even shown the old hag yet. Take a look." He opened a small box to reveal 2 translucent, white pills. One for her and one for the target. The effect was temporary, but it would be more than enough time for her to inhabit Bai Lu's body and cause some chaos. Of course, once the process was over, Bai Lu wouldn't be surviving. Nian Nian never intended to let that girl live. "Old poisoner," Nian Nian asked, looking him in the eye. "Is there any revenge you want me to take for you? I already promised to help my mother. The great demons of the abyss weren't here by choice. They all carried blood feuds and dark pasts." Nian Nian had heard the stories from the smaller monsters when they got drunk. The old poisoner let out a soft laugh and patted her head. "You little brat. You want to get revenge for me. You're not even strong enough to handle a single finger from my enemies. Just take the pills." He tossed the box to her, then went quiet for a moment. "I don't have any requests. I just want you to go out there and never bring shame to the demon race. Don't let anyone bully you. Don't take any crap. Don't be afraid of anyone. Nian Nian, remember this. You were raised by the combined will and spite of every great demon in this pit. We don't expect you to declare war on those old monsters yet, but their descendants? Those geniuses of the younger generation? You beat every single one of them until they crawl. Deal?" Nian Nian said firmly. "I was going to do that anyway." "Ha ha. Good. That's our girl." The old poisoner roared with laughter. "Those so-called noble sects trapped us here just because." He trailed off, his voice turning into a mumble. Nian Nian gave him a weird look, but he just smacked her on the head. "What are you staring at? Go practice. You haven't even learned my poison techniques yet, and you're already dreaming of running away." All the old-timers were itching to pass their secret arts down to her. They were actually annoyed that Enyu had gotten to her first. Nian Nian took the pills back to her room to cultivate. Her floor was littered with strange objects. "Master, what's this?" Bai Bian asked, dragging a weirdly shaped disc from under the bed. It was golden and etched with complex arrays. Even without trying, Nian Nian could see the demonic energy in the air being sucked toward it. "That," Nian Nian frowned, trying to remember. "Oh, the big demon from the Eastern Hill gave me that. It's a demon-purifying disc. He said it's a high-grade spiritual treasure and told me to use it however I want it. I usually sit on it when I practice or use it as a table when I'm not." She pointed around the room. "That bracelet? A magical weapon. That hairpin? Also a weapon. This entire house. Yeah, it's a weapon too." Bai Bian's eyes went wide. "How did you know the house was a weapon?" Nian Nian laughed and pulled him into a hug. "It's actually a spatial treasure the great demons used as a warehouse. When I arrived, they just gave it to me to live in." Bai Bian was stunned, his little hands gripping her neck. "Can we take it all with us when we leave?" Of course, the house can shrink. Everything here was a gift. Nian Nian kicked a pile of artifacts. I can't even use half of them yet because my cultivation is too low. To the demons here, I'm like a granddaughter. They just keep stuffing things into my room. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. The old poisoner stuck his head in. Kid, I've been thinking. It's not right. You have too few treasures. The world outside is dangerous. He dragged in a massive crate filled with bottles and jars. Here, these are my newest poisons. I packed the antidotes too. Let me know how they work. I haven't had a chance to test them on anyone yet. He wandered off, shaking his head. Bai Bian started counting the bottles. He got to 135 before another knock sounded. Nian Nian, take this. Another demon appeared. It's a new dress I made. It can tank a hit from a human spirit realm expert. Keep it for emergencies. In this world, cultivation started with the 9 levels of the spirit body, followed by human spirit, earth spirit, heaven spirit, and eventually the divine realms. Each stage had 9 stars. Humans and demons had different names for it, but the power was the same. Take my old sword, another shouted. It's perfect for your current level. And these poison needles. Nian Nian's arms were overflowing. Enough. It's too much. Enough? Are you kidding? The monsters stomped their feet in unison. You have no idea how cruel the outside world is. If you can't win a fight, you take a self-destructing artifact and throw it at them until they're dead. Do you hear me? If you run out, you come back. There's a seal on this place, but we can still find ways to smuggle more weapons out to you. Nian Nian nodded frantically, but she was overwhelmed. I can't carry all this. The monsters froze. Then, they all turned and bolted out the door, screaming at the top of their lungs. Hey, someone get Nian Nian another spatial treasure. We need a bigger warehouse. Inside the Imperial Palace, the atmosphere was thick with excitement. Su Lingyan stared at the Empress, her eyes wide and sparkling. Mother, is this really for me? The heavenly twin swords? She asked, her voice trembling with joy. In the Wansho Kingdom, practitioners were everywhere, but finding a high-quality spiritual weapon was nearly impossible. Most people spent their lives scavenging for scraps, but Su Lingyan never had that problem. Every year, like clockwork, she was handed a new treasure. The Empress smiled, a cold, regal expression. Use them well, she said. I used those swords myself back when I was still in the spirit body stage. It's a rare mid-grade artifact that can be used by someone below the human spirit realm. Su Lingyan beamed, clutching the swords to her chest. Then, her expression shifted. Mother, what about her? The Empress raised an eyebrow, her voice dripping with confidence. She's being disciplined in the dungeon. Don't worry. In 3 days, I'll hand you a perfectly obedient spirit beast. Stop worrying about small things and focus on Feng Sun. He was very unhappy after what happened last time. Su Lingyan nodded quickly. I understand. And the annual beast fighting competition is coming up, the Empress added, her gaze sharpening. You must take first place. You are a natural-born royal daughter. This competition is your first step toward dominating the 5 provinces. Do you understand? I won't let you down, Su Lingyan promised. Days passed in a blur. Meanwhile, Bai Lu was hiding in her room, fuming. Every day, she heard people praising Su Lingyan, while she sat there rotting and forgotten. Even the Empress only visited once for a fleeting second before rushing off to help Su Lingyan prepare for the tournament. When I'm healed, I'm entering that competition too, Bai Lu hissed, scratching at the itchy skin under her veil. And I'm going to kill that brat Yin Yin. She wanted to send an army to wipe me out, but she was terrified I wouldn't give her the antidote. I'll just keep my distance, she muttered to herself. If she tries anything, I'll hop on my Crimson Light Dog and bolt. No one can catch a Crimson Light Dog, not even a 9th-stage spirit body. That night, Bai Lu crept out and headed toward Whitehead Mountain. She was terrified, cursing under her breath with every step. What if that woman died from the mountain tremors? What happens to my face then? Her Crimson Light Dog let out a low, threatening growl, its fur standing on end. You're on time, I said, stepping out from the shadows. I was leaning against a large tree, watching her with a smirk. Bai Bian sat on a branch above me, swinging his short legs and smiling like a cherub. Bai Lu jumped back, keeping a safe distance. You little. She stopped mid-insult when she saw the black snake coiled around my arm, baring its fangs at her. She swallowed hard and said, "Give me the antidote." Now, Bai Bian's golden eyes flickered with a strange light. Suddenly, the crimson light dog let out a pathetic whimper. It tucked its tail between its legs and collapsed onto the dirt, shaking uncontrollably. Bai Lu wasn't expecting her mount to give up. She tumbled off its back and hit the ground hard. "You want the antidote?" I asked, looking down at her the same way she used to look down at me. "Fine. Get on your knees and beg." I let my ninth-stage spirit body pressure flare. The air grew heavy, crushing the breath out of her. Bai Lu's eyes burned with hatred. She thought I was trash, a nothing. But the best doctors in the kingdom couldn't touch the poison I'd given her. She didn't want to die, and she certainly didn't want to spend the rest of her life with a rotting face. Slowly, painfully, she dropped to her knees. She pulled back her veil, revealing skin that was already starting to decay. It was a sickening sight. I'm sorry," she choked out, her voice trembling with humiliation. "I was wrong. Please, just save me." I stared at her. Not long ago, I was the one kneeling at her feet. I had spent 18 years being trampled by people like her. I reached into my bag and tossed her a small wooden box containing a soul phantom pill. "Eat it." Bai Lu hesitated. She didn't trust me. I laughed, pulling out an identical pill and popping it into my own mouth. "I need you alive, Bai Lu. I need a way to get a real identity in the Wanshou Kingdom. Why would I kill my ticket into the city?" That seemed to convince her. If I wanted something from her, I wouldn't kill her. She swallowed the pill greedily. A second later, her entire body stiffened. A scream tore from her throat. You're killing me." "You lied." I felt it too, a searing, soul-ripping pain. It felt like my very essence was being peeled away from my bones. I gritted my teeth, enduring the agony. I walked over and grabbed her by the collar. "What made you think I'd ever let you go? You're just as stupid as you are cruel." My vision went black, and I felt my body collapse. Bai Bian caught me before I hit the ground, gently laying my original body on the grass. A moment later, Bai Lu opened her eyes. A slow, wicked smile spread across my new face. "Master," Bai Bian whispered tentatively. I touched the unfamiliar skin of my cheeks and laughed. "It's me." This was perfect. Who would suspect Bai Lu? This was the fastest way to get back into the heart of the palace. Beside me, the crimson light dog began to convulse. Since its soul was bonded to the real Bai Lu, it couldn't survive her death. Within seconds, it dissolved into a pool of bloody water. "I need a new dog," I mused, tapping my chin. "People will notice if she comes back without her mount." "Don't worry about that, Master," Bai Bian said. He shimmered, his small body shifting and growing until he was the perfect image of a crimson light dog. He nuzzled my hand affectionately. "You can mimic its abilities too?" I asked, pleasantly surprised. "Of course," he said, sounding a bit proud. "As long as they aren't way stronger than me, I can shift into anything I've seen. And I'll be stronger than the original." He paused, then added quickly, "But never stronger than you, Master." I patted his head. "Good. We're going to look out for each other. But first, we need to find a way to get my original body back to safety." I whistled, and two shadow monsters crawled out from the earth, circling me like eager puppies. They were weak, but they could move between the human world and the demon realm undetected. "Take my body back to the hidden realm," I told them. "Once I find a way to break the seal on the demon's sword, I'll come back for it." "Be careful, Nian Nian," the monsters squeaked. "If things get dangerous, just run back home." I nodded, climbed onto Bai Bian's back, and began the ride back to the Wanshou Kingdom. By the time the sun started to peek over the horizon, I was standing at the massive palace gates. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel a shred of fear. The guards at the gate bowed low, their faces full of greasy smiles. "Back so early, Miss Bai." The guards held the massive palace gates open for me, their smiles greasy and obsequious. They had no idea they were welcoming a god of death into their halls. As I stepped inside, a sharp, mocking laugh cut through the air. "Sister, where have you been? With a face like that, I'm surprised you dared to step outside." I turned around. A girl stood there, barely 15 years old. This was Bai Qianqian, Bai Lu's younger sister. Even though they shared the same parents, these two sisters hated each other. They had been at each other's throats since childhood, fighting over every scrap of family resources. I remembered the things she used to do to the original Bailu. Her favorite game was tying a thorny rope around Bailu's neck and forcing her to crawl like a dog around the palace gates, lap after lap. Still wearing a veil? I see. Bai Qianqian sneered, reaching out to snatch it from my face. Come on, sister, take it off and get some air. Let me see if there's any hope left for you. Her words sounded concerned, but her eyes glittered with pure malice. She knew that if her sister died, all the family resources would belong to her. As her hand lunged forward, I didn't hesitate. I whipped out my long snake beast lash and swung it with everything I had. A sharp crack echoed through the courtyard. Bai Qianqian was sent flying, crashing hard against the stone ground. Faint ripples of spiritual energy pulsed around my body. Bai Qianqian stared at me, her face pale with shock. Then, she let out a piercing scream. Impossible. You have no talent for cultivation. How can you use spiritual energy? Wanshou Kingdom was the only place in the 5 provinces where everyone was born with a life-bonded beast. Most people here were beast tamers, but because of that blessing, 90% of the population couldn't cultivate spiritual energy. Someone who could do both, a dual-path cultivator, was a rare treasure, even in a powerful family like the Bai clan. They were geniuses to be worshipped. The slave girls nearby froze in terror. How could the weak Miss Bailu do this? I let out a cold laugh and retracted my whip. It's true, I said, my voice smooth. It seems that after surviving that strange poison, I've been blessed with a stroke of luck. I've suddenly discovered I can cultivate. Sister, shouldn't you be happy for me? While I was busy dealing with my old enemy, my shadow monsters were working hard. They were carrying my original body back toward the hidden realm, passing over the peak of Whitehead Mountain. Deep beneath the Red Rock River, the man in the coffin stirred again. His long eyelashes fluttered, and this time he opened his eyes. He looked dazed, his glass-like eyes slowly scanning his surroundings. The river beneath him began to boil. He sat up, leaning against the hard wood of the coffin, his eyes half-lidded with sleep. His face was so beautiful it could make a person forget to breathe. He frowned, looking annoyed. So hard, he muttered. I want a pillow. He looked upward, his gaze piercing through the layers of earth and stone. He saw the 2 small shadow monsters scurrying across the mountain above, carrying a woman. He blinked slowly and snapped his fingers. The mountain split open. The shadow monsters and my body went tumbling down into the abyss, landing right inside his massive coffin. The man casually flicked the shadow monsters away like they were bothersome flies. He reached out and pressed a hand against my original body's chest. Soft enough, he murmured. This should be comfortable. He sensed no breath from the body and assumed it was dead. Yawning, he gathered a massive amount of spiritual energy, wrapping it around my body to preserve it from decaying. Then, he lay his head down on my chest and drifted back to sleep. The 2 shadow monsters huddled together in the corner of the tomb, shaking with terror. The area was filled with ancient, deadly formations. One wrong step, and they would be turned to ash. They watched the man fall asleep, then tearfully scrambled out of the tomb to find me. My body had been stolen, and there was nothing they could do. Back at the palace, I was still standing over by Qianqian. You hit me. I'm telling the elders, she screamed, her eyes red with rage and fear. She knew that if I really had gained cultivation powers on top of having a mount like the Crimson Light Dog, her status in the family would vanish. What is all this noise? A soft voice asked. I froze. I turned slowly and saw Su Lingyan standing behind me. A wave of hatred crashed into my mind, and I had to lower my head to hide the killing intent in my eyes. I clenched my fists until my knuckles turned white. Cousin, Bai Qianqian cried, rushing to Su Lingyan's side. Look what she did to me. Su Lingyan didn't even look at her. Her eyes were fixed on me, wide with shock. Bailu, what is this spiritual energy I feel coming from you? I bit my lip, forcing myself to look calm. I don't know. Maybe it was the poison. I think I found a blessing in disguise. We should have the royal doctors look at you, Su Lingyan said with a gentle smile. But as she turned away, her expression darkened instantly. She couldn't stand the idea of another dual-path cultivator standing beside her. She was supposed to be the only one. She forced a smile, determined to uncover my secret. I wasn't worried. The royal doctors of Wanshou Kingdom were nowhere near skilled enough to see through the methods of the old hag. What about me? Bai Qianqian whined. She hit me. I stepped forward and placed a heavy hand on her shoulder, smiling brightly. Sister, this is family business. Why should we trouble our dear cousin with our little squabbles? I spat the word cousin with a hidden venom. Su Lingyan frowned, sensing something was off about me, but she couldn't put her finger on it. She summoned all the royal doctors, making such a scene that even the Empress and Feng Sun heard about it. What did you say? The Empress asked the messenger, her voice sharp. Bai Lu has awakened a spiritual core? Feng Sun, who was sitting beside her, set down his teacup. Bai Lu? I thought she was dying of poison. The doctors say the poison is gone, the servant whispered. And she has indeed awakened. How interesting, Feng Sun said, a smirk playing on his lips. I think I'll go see her. The Empress waved him away, but her heart sank. If Bai Lu had become this powerful, she was a threat to her daughter's position. A cold sense of unease began to settle in her chest. Meanwhile, I sat in my room, letting the doctors examine me. I had suppressed my cultivation level to the first stage. I didn't want to be too suspicious. The doctors found nothing wrong. One of them, a member of the Bai family, looked at me with a glowing face. A miracle. Our family finally has another dual-path genius. The old doctor's face glowed with excitement. I must send word to the clan elders immediately, he exclaimed. The younger generation of the Bai family has been fading lately. Even though the Empress is a Bai, she's getting older and focuses on the kingdom. The princess, Su Lingyan, is a once-in-a-thousand-years genius, but she carries the Su name. She represents the royal family, not us. Without a true successor, the Bai family would never be able to hold our heads up again. He looked at me like I was a long-lost treasure. Being the eldest daughter of the direct lineage, my awakening changed everything. Beside me, Su Lingyan clenched her fists so hard her knuckles turned white. She forced a tight, fake smile. Congratulations, cousin. You're too kind, cousin, I replied. I let a mocking smile play on my lips, making sure to enunciate every word. Compared to someone like you, born with the phoenix essence, I still have a long way to go. I narrowed my eyes, scanning her. She didn't have her beast with her. By the way, when do we get to see your divine beast? I'm dying to meet it. Su Lingyan stiffened. What's the rush? You'll see it tomorrow at the beast banquet. That little phoenix is stubborn. If I don't discipline it properly, I wouldn't dare bring it out. I lowered my head to hide the cold, murderous intent in my eyes. Discipline? She probably had it locked up near the Empress. I couldn't get in there yet. Fine, I whispered. I'll look forward to it. At my feet, Bai Bian lay lazily, looking up at Su Lingyan with a look of pure disgust. This human looks like a mangy chicken, he muttered in my mind, his voice dripping with malice. Stinky and useless. Sooner or later, I'll dig that phoenix essence out of her. It belongs to my master anyway. He licked his lips, looking like he wanted to pounce right then and there. Brother Sun, Su Lingyan suddenly called out. I turned to see Feng Sun entering the room. Su Lingyan's expression soured. He was her fiancé, after all. What was he doing entering another woman's bedroom so boldly? Feng Sun ignored her and stared at me. His gaze flickered to the scabs on my face, and a flash of disdain crossed his eyes. To him, a woman should be as beautiful as a flower. If my face stayed ruined, I wasn't even a woman in his eyes. I heard you awakened a spiritual body, he said, his voice arrogant. I remained cold and silent. Your face is a mess, he frowned, clearly annoyed. Why don't you cover it up? I let out a sharp laugh. I don't see you looking all that great either. Where do you get this confidence? What did you say? Su Lingyan's voice spiked, but she quickly caught herself. She had to act like a refined lady in front of Feng Sun. She softened her tone. Cousin, just because your face is hurt doesn't mean you should be bitter toward others. It's not right. She was halfway through her lecture when she let out a blood-curdling scream. Bai Bian had seen enough. He blurred into motion, his claws flashing as he lunged straight for her face. This woman was annoying, and he was done listening to her chirp. Su Lingyan scrambled back, tripping over her own feet and crashing into the floor in a pathetic heap. How dare you? Feng Sun roared. He raised his foot, ready to kick Bai Bian. You dare. I barked. He froze. I stared him down, my voice icy. If you touch him, do you think the Bai family will let you walk out of here? My talent makes me a treasure to them now. They will protect me. Su Lingyan grabbed Feng Sun's arm, hiding the venom in her eyes behind a mask of gentleness. Brother Sun, forget it. I'm fine. Feng Sun looked at her with pity. Yenner, you're too kind. That's why people like this think they can walk all over you. He glared at me. For the sake of the Bai family, I'll let you go this once. He turned on his heel and stormed out, dragging Su Lingyan with him. I didn't even blink. Bai Qianqian, who had been watching from the corner, was stunned. She realized I was truly a different person now. I turned to her. That Feng Sun, he's from the Feng family of the 5 provinces, right? She rolled her eyes. You used to follow him around like a dog. How do you not know that? But don't get ideas. He's the princess's man. You're not worthy. I didn't get angry. Instead, I smiled. The Feng family of the 5 provinces. The very people the old hag hated with a passion. This was perfect. I didn't even have to go looking for trouble. It had walked right into my room. Once everyone was gone, I turned to Bai Bian. Bai Bian, can you transform into the shape of Bai Lu? He shifted into his little boy form. I can stay like that for 6 hours. I just need a drop of your blood. You're amazing. I leaned down and kissed his forehead, making him blush and spin in circles. Master, are you going out tonight? He asked excitedly. Are we going to fight? I want to go. No, you stay here and pretend to be me, I told him. Don't let anyone find out. Once I find my other little one, we'll all go out together. He pouted but eventually agreed, gripping my hand. Will Master like the big one more than me? Am I still your favorite? His eyes filled with tears. Of course you are. I soothed him, though my heart ached. I still didn't know if my other beast was safe. Late that night, Bai Bian shifted into my form and tucked himself into bed. I pulled out a specialized artifact the old hag had given me, a cloak that masked all spiritual ripples and presence. I dressed in black, adjusted a mask over my face that depicted a woman with narrow eyes and blood-red lips, and slipped out. I knew the palace layout well enough to dodge the patrols. I searched almost everywhere, but my little one was nowhere to be found. That left only 2 places, the Empress's private chambers or the dungeons. I crouched on a dark rooftop, biting my lip. I couldn't go there yet. The Empress would catch me for sure. I had to wait for the beast banquet tomorrow. Just as I was about to head back, I saw a lone figure walking through the gardens. It was Feng Sun. He was alone, no guards in sight. I stopped, a genius from the Feng family. A cruel smile spread across my face. I had been raised by monsters and demons lately, and their habits were rubbing off on me. It felt wrong to just go home empty-handed. Old hag, let me collect a little interest for you today. Feng Sun was deep in thought. He was thinking about a woman he had seen at Whitehead Mountain. Seeing me today had reminded him of her. I wonder if she's still alive, he muttered to the moon. Being too kind is just another form of stupidity. Such a pity. She was beautiful enough to be one of my concubines. The words had barely left his mouth when a blade of spiritual energy slammed into him. It was a full power strike from a 9th-stage spiritual body. Feng Sun wasn't prepared. He dodged instinctively, but before he could recover, my leg swept out and caught him square in the face. Concubine? Kind. This idiot was insulting the wrong person. I didn't give him a second to breathe. I unleashed everything I had, move after move, my spiritual energy surging like a flood. I had to be fast. If the guards arrived, I'd be trapped. Who are you? Feng Sun yelled, struggling to defend himself. He was horrified to find that this masked stranger was actually stronger than him, just a hair's breadth away from breaking into the human spirit realm. I didn't answer. I just aimed every strike at his most vulnerable spots. Feng Sun broke into a cold sweat, his veins popping with rage as he finally summoned his own artifact. His pride as a man was being shredded with every blow. Do you think you're the only one with a spiritual artifact? I sneered under my breath. Feng Sun laughed, his voice dripping with arrogance. But his smile didn't last long. I didn't give him a chance to posture. I reached into my bag and pulled out 3 low-grade artifacts, tossing them toward him like they were common stones. With a sharp snap of my fingers, I whispered one word. Burst. 3 massive explosions rocked the air. The shockwaves swallowed Feng Sun whole. He scrambled to activate a defensive shield, but the blast was too fast and too close. When the smoke cleared, his face was bruised and bloody, his expensive robes tattered. Which enemy sent you? Show your face. Feng Sun roared. His voice trembled with a mix of rage and genuine fear as he looked at his shattered artifacts. Hiding in the shadows like a rat in a sewer. Show yourself. I didn't waste breath on a reply. I just flicked my wrist and tossed 3 more low-grade artifacts at his feet. Feng Sun's face went pale. Again, I let out a cold, sharp laugh. We rats from the sewer don't care much for fair play. We just like to see things burn. Feng Sun was losing his mind. He was terrified and furious at the same time. Who was this person who just throws away artifacts like they're cheap firecrackers? Lord Feng. The palace guards were fast. I could hear the heavy rhythmic stomp of boots approaching from every direction. I was about to be surrounded. I narrowed my eyes, looking at Feng Sun one last time. I'll let you off easy today, I said, my voice cold. We'll meet again. Before the guards could close in, I pulled out 5 mid-grade artifacts. Feng Sun's expression shifted from anger to pure horror. He turned toward the charging soldiers and screamed, "Get back! Move!" His warning was swallowed by a wall of fire and sound. A massive explosion tore through the night, the shockwave reaching toward the sky. I used the chaos to bolt, weaving through the shadows as I retreated. I didn't just run, though. Every few steps, I tossed another artifact behind me. One by one, they detonated. I specifically targeted the newly built palace halls. I watched the flames rise, licking at the ornate roofs of the place that had been my prison for 18 years. For the first time in a long time, the weight on my chest felt a little lighter. "Scoundrel!" A powerful, majestic voice boomed in my ears, vibrating through my very bones. It was the Empress. Her voice echoed across the entire imperial city, thick with murderous rage. "Ignorant rat, you dare attack my city." A crushing wave of spiritual energy descended from the sky. It felt like the weight of a mountain, searching every corner of the ruins to find me. I didn't panic. I reached into my bag and pulled out 5 more artifacts. But these weren't standard spiritual tools. These were high-grade Demon Clan artifacts. The moment I brought them out, the air changed. The demonic elements in the atmosphere, long dormant and suppressed, surged toward me like a starving pack of wolves. Since the Demon Clan had been sealed away, these elements had nowhere to go. They were dense, volatile, and ready to explode. "I'll use these to announce that the demons are coming back," I whispered. "Go." I released the artifacts. The demonic energy gathered into a black storm, slamming head-on into the Empress's golden spiritual pressure. In her private chambers, the Empress snapped her eyes open. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with terror. "That's impossible," she muttered. "No one in this world should be able to command demonic energy anymore." She fought back the wave of energy, but when she searched the city again, the intruder was gone. There wasn't a trace of demonic aura left. "How?" she whispered to the empty room. "The seal on the demon sword isn't broken. Those monsters shouldn't be able to get out." Deep within the abyss of the demon's sword, the monsters I had left behind were moping. It was quiet. It was boring. They had tasted a bit of excitement with me there, and now that I was gone, the silence was unbearable. Suddenly, the powerful demons at the top felt a tremor. It was coming from the direction of the palace. Nyen Nyen. The demons spread their wings and surged into the sky, pressing their faces against the invisible seal. From their vantage point, they could see the distant glow of explosions in the imperial city. "That's the artifact I gave her," one demon shouted, his voice full of pride. "Look, she's using it." "Why is she using a low-grade one?" Another grumbled, crossing his arms. "Nyen Nyen, use the high-grade ones. Blow them all up. Damn it, someone must be bullying her." Old Poison rushed out from his mountain, tripping over his own robes. His baby face was flushed bright red with anger. I knew 2 warehouses of artifacts weren't enough. "Nyen Nyen, if you run out, come home. We have plenty more." The demons were cheering and shouting, acting like proud parents watching a school play. But when the demonic energy finally flared up and pierced the sky, they all went silent. That energy had been dead for 1,000 years. Watching it explode was like throwing a stone into a stagnant pond, rippling through their dead hearts. "Damn it," a small demon pressed against the seal and started to cry. "It's been so long since I saw our energy out there." "What are you crying for? Have some spine." A larger demon snapped, though his own eyes were red. "Why can't I cry?" the small one sobbed. They locked us in here to drain our blood. We didn't do anything wrong. Before they were called the Demon Clan, they had a different name. A beautiful name. They were the tribe of divine light. They had been trapped for so long they had almost forgotten it. Enyu stood high above the others, watching the palace in silence. After a few seconds, a faint, rare smile touched her lips. But the moment of peace didn't last. Great Ones, it's bad news. A voice screamed from below. The shadow demon scrambled up, his face twisted in panic. Nian Nian's body. It's been stolen by that thing under Whitehead Mountain. The abyss, which had been as loud as a festival seconds ago, turned deathly silent. Enyu dropped from the sky like a falling star, grabbing the shadow demon by the throat. What did you say? She hissed, her face like ice. It's true. The shadow demon wailed. The last bloodline of the immortal clan under the mountain. He took her. What do we do? That place is filled with lava. If Nian Nian's body is destroyed, shut your mouth. Old Poison barked, though his hands were shaking. We're stuck in here. How do we get to her? We have to break the seal. Fight it. We've tried for 800 years. It doesn't work. Then what? We just watch her die. Old Poison's voice cracked. The soul-swapping pill has a time limit. If she doesn't get back to her body before it runs out, Nian Nian is dead. The demons broke into a chaotic argument, everyone screaming over each other. Only Enyu remained silent. Her eyes were black pits of cold fury. Enough, she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the noise like a blade. She looked at Old Poison, her expression calmer than anyone else's, which only made her more terrifying. Bring me the 1,000-mile shadow mirror, she commanded. Old Poison froze. Enyu, think about this. If you use that, you'll lose 100 years of your cultivation. It'll all be gone. The 1,000-mile shadow mirror was a supreme treasure of the Demon Clan. It could bypass any seal or restriction in the world to project a message across vast distances. But the cost was steep. It required the sacrifice of a great demon's power. No one had touched it in centuries. Why burn your life away just to send a message to a world that hated you? Enyu didn't blink. I've lived a very long time, she said softly. What does 100 years matter to me?